Double the love, but also double the challenges. As a mum of twins, I've learned a thing or two about surviving that first year. I feel like I'm bragging, but I made it. We've made it past the first year. If you're a new twin mum or mum to be, buckle up because I'm going to share my tips and tricks, what I've learned over the first year. And I'm gonna help you navigate the first year with a little less stress and a lot more confidence. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Elle if you're new here. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today's video is all about surviving the first year. As a twin mum, I know firsthand how challenging the first year can be, and that's why I want to share my tips with you so that you can navigate this year with a lot more confidence. From sleepless nights to double feeding, I've been through it all, and I'm excited to share my tips and tricks with you. Whether you're a new or expecting twin mum, or you're just curious what raising twins is like, this video is for you. So grab a cup of coffee and let's dive in. I can tell you that the first year is filled with highs and lows. When you reach that 1 year milestone, wow, what a feeling. I remember the twins turning 1. It was a very emotional time for me as their first birthday was approaching, and that was for a lot of reasons. But one of the reasons was thinking back over that last year and all of the challenges and thinking that we had made it through. Because sometimes when you're in the middle of those challenges, it feels like it's never going to end. But we came out the other side, and you will too. When you come out the other side, you are tougher and so much more resilient. But that's not to say that in those moments it's easy. The first few weeks after they were born, it was such a blur. A lot of it is actually captured on my YouTube channel, so if you haven't seen those vlogs, make sure you go back and watch them. I'll leave them linked in this video. You can see exactly what the newborn days were like for us. Adjusting to a schedule with 2 newborns was tough. It was so hard, and my husband Dave and I did our best to kind of make it work. Feeding and sleeping schedules became the foundation of our day. It wasn't easy, but we managed to get into a flow and figured out what worked best for our family. The emotional ups and downs of motherhood in those first few months were very real for me. I experienced everything from pure joy, happiness, frustration, and absolute exhaustion. I tried my best when I could to take care of myself the best way that I could so that I could be there for my babies and my family. Navigating the complexities that come with 2 babies is honestly not an easy feat, but it's so rewarding even though it can be incredibly challenging. It was such a special thing to be able to witness the bond between Revie and Rue right from the outset. And even though they didn't know of each other to begin with, when I captured the first moment that they saw each other and smiled at each other, and that was just, I can't even tell you how much that melted my heart. Getting to see their bond grow and develop over this first year has been one of the best experiences of my life. But on the other hand, taking care of 2 babies honestly can really take its toll. It is emotionally and physically draining at times. I have never experienced complete exhaustion like I have with the twins. Not only can you feel just absolutely stressed with everything that you're having to manage in your brain, but on top of that, you can be absolutely exhausted, at least I was, because the twins just weren't sleeping very well at all. They didn't sleep very well for their first year, which if you follow me on Instagram, you will know all about, so I won't go into that. But the twins just regularly were waking up throughout the night, each of them. So it was just multiple times throughout the night. And on top of that was this feeling at times of inadequacy as a parent. Constantly second guessing yourself, worrying, hoping that you're making the right decision, and that can be compounded at times depending on who is around you and what feedback you're getting. It's crazy the amount of feedback you get as a parent at times, but it really can just add to that stress and add to that pressure when you're really just trying to do the best job that you can. One of the biggest surprises that I experienced as a twin mum are people giving me expert advice who aren't twin mums. That's not to discount their experience or what they've gone through, but Twins are really unique. It's a really unique situation, and you have to kind of approach everything you're doing with the lens of, how do I tackle this job with 2 babies? There is quite literally more than double the workload. It's not just double, it's more than double. It is a lot. Speaking of complexities, the babies, I can hear them, so just BRB, I'll be right back with you. Sorry for the little pause there, I'm back. I've got another coffee, so let's kick back into things. There's also the logistics of outings. Going out with 1 baby is challenging enough, but trying to plan an outing for 2 babies, it's intense. Making sure the stroller is going to fit where you're going. This means that even a trip to the grocery store with twins can be a major production. There's also the attention that twins attract. You have the same conversation with people over and over and over again. Double trouble. You've got your hands full. Better you than me. Hate that one. People mean well, but the constant attention that twins bring can sometimes feel intrusive and a little bit overwhelming too. Twins also have different personalities, and what works for one of your babies might not work for the other baby, because even though they were womb mates, they're not carbon copies of each other. And it can be surprising how different they are, even from a young age. Some of my biggest triumphs when I look back at the first year with the twins was actually surviving those first few months. The first few months were a roller coaster where you're thrown in the deep end and you have to learn to swim. You're surviving sleepless nights. You're literally learning on the job if you don't have experience with young children, which Dave and I didn't. And it is just full on. So getting through that period feels like a major triumph. And for us, I remember on Instagram people reached out to me and said the first 8 weeks is the hardest. After 8 weeks, we were still in the thick of it. I would say that it wasn't until we reached 3-4 months that the fog started to kind of lift, and we sort of felt like we were having more of an understanding about what was involved in our day-to-day. Meeting developmental milestones is such a special moment for any parent. Seeing your little one roll over, pull themselves up, start to walk. It's so special. But I will say that they do meet, at least our twins, meet developmental milestones at different times. And that's something that I have learned along the process, is not to compare which one's getting to what thing first. Finding a routine was a big win for us. This is kind of controversial when you talk to people. Some people are very pro routine and then other people are not pro routine. I love the idea of going with the flow, but number one, I'm definitely a routine kind of gal. Love some structure to my day. And it was kind of necessary with the twins, honestly. I needed them both to be on the same routine, even though it wasn't their natural routine. I couldn't let them both sleep when they wanted to sleep and both eat when they wanted to eat, because if that was the case, I would have gotten no sleep at all. Remember, I was breastfeeding and we were supplementing with formula. So or breast milk had to be there. And if one fed while one slept, and then that one slept, and then that one fed, I was just going from feeding to feeding to feeding to feeding with no rest in between. So for me, a routine was key, and it was something that we did, and I have no regrets that we did it that way. Some of the struggles and setbacks that we experienced in those first 12 months was definitely sleep. Lack of sleep was numero uno when I think back. And I'm so grateful that now, 14 months on, we finally have our sleep under control. I'll give an update on sleep and routines and how all that's going very soon. But those first 12 months, sleep was not really a thing. Raising twins is so expensive, especially having a boy and a girl, because not all of their clothes could be shared. I did try to share as many clothes as I could with the twins. And the one good thing, I guess, is that they were such different sizes. Rue tended to always be the size above his sister, so that I was able to pass some clothes down to her. You need 2 of everything. It's really a lot right out the gate, and that can put a lot of strain on you as a family unit. It just meant that Dave and I had to have really open conversations about budgeting, about our expenses, and we had to prioritize different things. Time management is also something that I really struggled with. I still to this day struggle with it, and I'm trying to figure out a way to kind of make everything work. but you feel like you're being pulled in so many different directions because especially when they're young, they're absolutely helpless. At least the twins now can, hold a bottle each and feed themselves, but that wasn't always the case. It's really, really hard to try to manage your time, to stay on top of household chores, things that the baby needs, trying to maintain some kind of social life with your friends, to reply back to messages. If you're working like I was, trying to stay on top of work to be somewhat productive as well. It's a total mind game of trying to make everything work and figure out how you can best allocate your time throughout the day. Some of the most valuable lessons I learned over the last 12 months are routines are king. Routines are essential, at least that was my experience. Twins are demanding. They are demanding and they are non-stop. Having an idea of my day, when they were sleeping, when they would be awake, when they'd be eating. Obviously not every day goes to plan, but having a routine, honestly, my twins needed it and they loved it too. They knew what to expect. They knew what was going on and they both kind of adjusted into that. And it gave me a sense of being able to kind of plan out my day. It's also okay to ask for help. One of our experiences was that we didn't have offers of help from family. We had to ask them for help. Once we did ask for help though, that help was there. And that's something that I really encourage other parents to consider. If you find that you're feeling overwhelmed and some help would really be beneficial and you can reach out to family who you trust, who could be there to help you, do it. It doesn't mean that you're not great and you're not doing a great job, but support is so crucial. When they say it takes a village to raise a baby, they're not joking. It really, really helps. So ask for help when you need it, and if support's available to help you, take advantage of that. It's really important that amongst the craziness of the first 12 months, you take care of yourself. I was running myself absolutely ragged. I was making poor choices. At the time, those were the choices that I felt were getting me through, so I was going with it. I was living off of a diet of real convenience foods, but that wasn't taking care of myself and prioritizing my health. I did eventually reach a breaking point where I needed to make changes to my habits. So glad that I did. But this is a reminder that you matter, and prioritizing your health, taking some time out for things that you need, doesn't make you selfish. Make sure you're getting enough rest, that you're eating well, and that you're taking care of yourself. Some of the amazing advice that I received over the 12 months included setting realistic expectations. There is a lot of pressure that comes with motherhood, especially first-time motherhood, trying to get everything right. One of the best quotes that I read was that you yourself are enough for your baby. The way you love your baby, no one else can do that. So you are filling that special place for them. You don't have to be perfect. It's just about doing your best and removing those external pressures of thinking that you have to have everything perfect, because you don't. And also, take away that pressure of thinking you have to hit developmental milestones, thinking you have to be at this activity, that activity. Just simplify the process and remember, do what works for you. What works for somebody else and what they're doing, that's great, but try to separate yourself from that and focus on you and your lane and don't compare. Dave and I always celebrated the small victories, and it's something that I love that we did, because those small victories felt like massive hurdles to us. So make sure you take the time to celebrate all of those small wins too. Take the time to acknowledge your hard work, take the time to acknowledge the challenges that you're going through, and be proud of yourself for getting through them. One thing that I have tended to notice is true about twin mums is that they seem to sweat the small stuff a little bit less. And I think that's just because you can't. You just don't have the time to, you're not focused on one baby. You have to constantly have this dual focus. It's not like your attention is halved. It's honestly like your full attention is on one baby and your full attention is on the other baby, just like your love for your children. There isn't the time to be perfect, to sweat those small things. You kind of have to let things go, be flexible, and just kind of go with it. For example, I remember posting a TikTok, which I know is risky because you never know what the comment section on TikTok's going to do, but I wanted to share how I breastfeed both babies by myself when Dave was working or he wasn't around to be able to help me. And that involved, having to actually lift each baby out of their bassinet carry them down the hall, attach them to me on the couch, because I like to feed on the couch. That's where I keep my breastfeeding pillow, and nurse them there. The comment section was relatively good until the video started like gaining traction, and it ended up reaching about 2 million views, I think. And the comment section started to catch on with people commenting being like, go twin mom, but those babies, those poor babies, their necks, oh, their necks. I knew what my baby's capabilities were from a young age, but obviously these people watching the video, they don't have that context. So I was only doing what I knew that my babies were capable of doing. And as a first-time mum, it's so easy to get caught up in the fear and anxiety of doing everything perfect and worrying what people will think of you if you're doing something that they deem to not be perfect. That's when you have to really trust yourself and your instincts. Being a twin mum means that you have the pressures involved with being a first-time mum, but you're also forced to let go of perfection, and you have to kind of prioritize what's really important and needs doing in that moment. And ultimately, the priority is just to keep your baby happy, healthy, and loved. I know that this particular tip isn't relevant to everybody because not everybody is doing parenthood with the support of a partner. And if you're not, I give you all the pats on the back and I am cheering you on, because that is a very, very, very hard road to walk if you are solo parenting, especially as a twin parent. But for us, for me, one of the greatest things was the power of teamwork with my husband. And I am so grateful that we approached our role as twin parents as a team with teamwork in mind. We had to work together to overcome the day-to-day challenges involved with raising twins, and that was just from every single angle. So if you are in a position where your partner is involved, just remind yourself that this is a team effort. It's not all on you, it's not all on them, you're doing this together. Another challenge that I personally had was balancing my career with motherhood and trying to make all of that work. As a business owner, I didn't want to take too much time away from work. I did take some maternity leave, but it was time for me to get back into work quite early on, which I needed support in place to make that happen. We were so fortunate that a very good family friend of mine also is a professional nanny, and she had some time available in her week that she was able to help us out a couple of days with looking after the twins. And she came, or she still does, comes to this house, so it means that I got to be around the twins, and when they were younger and still breastfed before 6 months when I stopped, I was around to be able to do that as well. But there was also a constant feeling of guilt because I wanted to spend every moment with my babies, but I also love what I do for work, and I wanted to continue to do that. That was part of also filling my own cup and doing things that bring me joy and bring me happiness. So it's just a juggle. Even to this day, with the twins being 14 months old and they go to preschool a couple of days a week, I still feel that guilt, and I don't know if it will ever go away. I think that's just part of motherhood, unfortunately. I think for a lot of mums though, those feelings are really natural. It can lead to stress and anxiety if you aren't speaking about it or know that other people feel the same way that you do. One way that I try to make it all work with working and the twins is simplifying our routine as much as possible. I try to do as much prep work ahead of time as I can. That means laying out their clothes for the next day, the night before. I also have a strategy around where clothes are stored in our house. I have preschool clothes in the playrooms, we can just grab them out. I have these little things there to try to make our life as easy as possible. It means our house isn't a Pinterest house, it's not aesthetic, there's stuff everywhere, but I have stations set up of where I need things. So where the babies are being fed, I have a feeding station with their bibs and things that I need like that. Like I said, the preschool station. I have now a little station by the door where their bags are kept and shoes for preschool. Those kinds of things really help when you're under a time crunch, and also when there's just one of you, two of them. There are definitely lots of times to this day that I feel overwhelmed as a twin mum. And the way in which I work through that is trying to be kind to myself. I'm so grateful I've got the support of my husband. He can step in those moments when I just need to take a breath. But being a mum is a tough job. Being a mum to twins is a tough job. It's okay to feel exhausted and overwhelmed at times. So if you feel those things, it doesn't make you a bad mum, it just makes you a human. Be kind to yourself and give yourself permission to take breaks when you need them. I'm so excited to bring you along on our next year with the twins and show you all the things we're getting up to this year. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any specific questions that weren't covered and you'd like me to answer, make sure you leave them in the comments below or send me a message on Instagram and connect with me there. I so appreciate you being here. I can't wait to see you in the next video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, make sure you hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next video soon. Bye.